Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Chaos to Calm Budgets. This is my channel where I'm cash stuffing my way and budgeting my way through clearing off a whopping £73,000. I should really remember this because I do hesitate every time I start these videos. I think it's around £73,000 of debt. We are below that now, although got a bit of a confession to make in relation to that, but we'll get to it. How is everybody? It has been a minute. Well, I think it's been a couple of weeks since my last video, and I've kind of canned off the end of 2025 now in terms of my budgeting. As you will see, I've now got a nice new budget planner. I essentially just ran out of time to do anything, and I also got ill. And I'm glad I got ill just before Christmas because I felt so much better this week and enjoyed Christmas, and I hope you guys did as well. We are in that very strange Twixmas era now where we don't really know what day it is. We don't know what we're doing from one day to the next, and we're just not sure what we're eating from one day to the next, but we just have an ample amount of food in the house, don't we? So we are enjoying that space at the moment. So yeah, I thought I'd get this video filmed. I'll get set up for January 2026, show you my new budget planner, show you what kind of aims and goals and how we might be doing things differently this year, and yeah, let's get this show on the road. So I hope you all did have a lovely Christmas. My Mr. B, he did surprise me. So we normally, as you know, we did all of our budgeting for Christmas. We set out a set amount for each individual person, and we normally say £100 each, and we give each other ideas about what we're going to get. And Mr. B, the cheeky little devil, has been siphoning away money that he's been hustling through playing games. So I don't know if anyone else has seen that advertised, but yeah, you can play games, do little challenges on games, and you earn money from it. And the crafty little so-and-so, he told me on Christmas Day when I was opening up all these presents that was I knew was well above the £100 budget that he had that we had set each other, and I was like, how have you managed this? And he basically he earned through the hustling of the games and whatever, he managed to get, I think, nearly £400 from that, which I think is amazing. And I'm like, you crack on, my love, you keep hustling that money away, and we can both put our little challenges to the test really, and do what we can to, you know, get through our budgeting and our debt payoff. So right, so I went for black on my budget planner this year. I've gone for my Legend budget planner, which is from Amazon. I do have my sort of day-to-day planner as well from the Legend budget planner. I love these. It worked well for me last year, so I'm giving it a go again. I did go a bit of research. I went on Etsy. I'd looked, just Googled generally, see what had come up for different budget planners, but yeah, I just didn't find anything that kind of fitted what I needed it to do, and I think, why try and fix something that's not broken? So here we go. So new planner. I have our general financial plan on this page here. So this is where I've gone from 40 to 50, 50 to 60, and 60 to 70 years of age, and kind of where I want to be. So it talks about sort of promotions through work, where I kind of want to get my active income from. Assets, I want to put our mortgage below 100,000 by the time I reach 50. I still want to see if I can be a landlady. I want to try and see if we can purchase a second property and invest in that. We're going to start researching that over the next year, and we're thinking we're going to set up a limited company with a friend, some of our friends, to see if we can do that. So that's going to be a pie in the sky dream, and let's see what we can do there. Going to continue with our investments for the kids, and I want to be able to get them £20,000 each by the time that they're 18, using investments. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. I want to get to around 50 and 60, want to increase our active income, I want to get promotions through work, 2 rental properties if possible. I want to have our mortgage paid off by the time we're 60, and then look to purchase a 3rd property. So try and keep those goals going. Again, pie in the sky, because it's no harm in having the pie in the sky in there. I've kept the same for the investments, so that's the overall aim, to be at £20,000 by the time they're 18. And then between 60 and 70, I'm going to be retired. I'm going to have a nice pension that's coming in. The last time I looked at the estimate, it was around 45,000 a year in pension for my private pension. So yeah, that's looking quite healthy. I want to have our mortgage paid off, have the business properties and have them paid off by the time we're 70 as well, and then just have an income from the properties of around £1,000 a month. Some of this is kind of just flicked out of the sky. It may change as years go on, but that's kind of the overall long-term plan. That's what I'd like to aim for. This year's financial goals, I want to clear all of our credit cards off. I want to have emergency fund of £1,200, so that's £100 a month, so can try not to touch the emergency fund, let that grow. I want to get my credit score above 950. It's not far off that at the moment, so that's not bad. I want to have a low spend year, and I put some rules here on what my low spend year is going to look like, and we'll go through that in a second. I want to continue paying off the debt and be cleared off by April 2028. So some of you who have been following me for a while, we are trying to get our debt paid off in 3 years. So that's what we're aiming towards. I'm going to start cash stuffing for medium and long-term goals, so continue doing that. So we have our folders here. So that one's kind of our day-to-day, week-by-week one. We have our medium-term spends and then our long-term savings there. I want to research and develop a business plan to look at the property, and then I want to do a complete £1 challenge. So we didn't do too badly this year on the £1 challenge. So this is where we are putting I think it's depending on the week it is of the year is how much we save. So I did it week 1 £1, week 2 £2. This year I'm going to do it the other way round, because I think it got harder as the year went on and the closer to Christmas we got. So for the first week it'll be £52, then 51.50, and so on and so forth. And actually, if you think about it, if I be siphoning away all of that, the larger amounts at the beginning of the year, by the end of the year I would have got more interest because there's more money in there. So there's method in the madness. In terms of my low spend year rules, I'm going to go with no new products. So this is things like skincare, makeup, or what else was there that I said? Supplements. So this is where I'm going to continue just using the ones that I use, the brands that I use, the regime that I use. I'm not going to add into that. So this is about me trying to steer away from influencers. Sorry, fellow influencers out there. But yeah, I need to have those hard rules, I think, around to try and reach our financial goals. I'm going to use all the products before I buy new ones. I'm going to have a very loose things around that. So in terms of, I tend to find that when I buy on deals, so when there's 3 for 2 on my skincare, or there's half price or something like that, then I will stock up because it makes sense to do that. So there will be some looseness of that rule there, but generally I need to make sure that I'm using up what I've got first. So trips and outings, other than the ones that we have already got planned or that are free in terms of using our National Trust, or we've got local garden passes for a place up the road where there's like a park and a path and a lake, and it's just lovely up there, but we've got a yearly pass for that. It's a no, basically. So I'm saying no to any additional things that haven't already been planned for this year or we've bought into. When we do go out for our days out, it's going to be packed lunches and take travel drinks, so our travel mugs and things like that. We're not purchasing when we're there. I desperately want to reduce our alcohol intake. I do enjoy a bottle of wine, I'm not going to lie. And it's not just one bottle though in a week. When we look at it, when we break it down, it has slowly crept up bit by bit. You know, health wise, it's not great. Budget wise, it's not great. So I'm basically having a rule where from January, it's 1 bottle of wine per week that I will enjoy, and it will be on special occasions only. So no other drinking at home other than that rule there. For clothes, I am going to go for replacements only. So when things have worn out and I need to replace, it's 1 in, 1 out. is basically what I'm going to do, and I'm going to use Vinted first or charity shops. I'm not buying brand new. So and I'm going to start using Vinted to sell first as well, where I've kind of outgrown something, you know, I'm not wearing it anymore. Kids' clothes as well. My boy is going through clothes like no tomorrow because he's just growing. He just will not stop growing. He is huge for his age. So he's got plenty of wear left in some trousers that no longer fit him. So I'm going to try and Vinted those and get a little bit of money recouped back for that. So that's what I'm going to do. I do have an event at the end of January. It's my best friend's 40th birthday. So again, I'm using Vinted and I'm going to get a nice outfit for that. Try and stick to no more than sort of £10, sorry, for the outfit, and try and use the shoes that I've already got, because I've got lots. I have got things that I can choose from and just vavaboom it up, so it'll be fine. And I'm going to buy no more new books. I got some books given from Mr. B for Christmas. I've got loads of books that my sister handed to me. I have a bookshelf full of them. I do not need any more new books to read, and I'm going to use the library, so library or shelf first. In terms of saving rules, so I am going to monitor our gas and electricity usage. So obviously through the winter months we are likely to use more, but I'm going to still try and keep within, we pay just over £200 a month on our direct debit. I'm going to see if we can still keep within that, because then when we come to the summer months, and hopefully we use less, it will kind of even some of it out. But also if I'm using less throughout the year, so be it. We also want to try and get our solar panels fitted this year, so I'm having a little bit of a standoff really with Octopus at the moment. So we've secured the price, we've secured the design of how many panels we want. Our house, the position is bob on for where the sun will be, and it is going to pay for itself. So I want to use their finance. I refuse to use a loan or anything that's not going to be interest free, because essentially whatever I'm paying on that interest-free loan for the panels should be offset what we would normally pay for electricity, so it will pay for itself. And I'm not going to do it any other way than that, because I don't want to increase our debt essentially. So yeah, I know it's a little bit what's the word I'm looking for? It's a little bit of a gamble, because you can't always guarantee what the intake is, but they have given us good estimates. Estimates. It's, well, I suppose it is guesstimates, isn't it? But yeah, we'll see that. The other next rule down is one cleaning product per so when we buy one cleaning product, I'm not going to be buying multiple cleaning products essentially. If I've got one for the bathroom, that's all I'm going to use is one for the bathroom at a time. I'm not going to keep buying lots of different ones. I want to come off my Monjaro jab by June 2026. I think that's a healthy aim to go for, and that also allows for me to step down as well. So I'm hoping if I can get to goal, say by April time, that gives me a couple of months to slowly step down from the highest dosage that I'm on at the moment, and I want to really focus on health this year and have a proper, because the danger of coming off Monjaro too quickly, I think, and also not really having that proper plan around it, is I'm likely to gain the weight again, and I don't want to do that. I wanted, you know, this was an investment, and I want to savour that. So that's what I'm going to focus on as well. And then in terms of any side hustles or ways to make money, I'm going to try and get back onto the Survey app and try and, you know, like Mr. B has been doing, sniffling away money bit by bit. I'm going to try and do the same for the surveys. I'm going to focus on my £1 challenge and also sell it on Vinted, and hopefully those kind of little bits of money that I'm going to aim will go towards that £1 challenge. So that's those. So there, I'm all set up for the year. The only thing I haven't done yet is, this is a savings tracker goal, but I kind of use if you've been watching my previous videos, I've printed off kind of A4 sheets that I break down there. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be using these pages or not. And the same for the debt tracker there as well. So I haven't filled those in yet. And then we come to January. So my goals for the January is I want to switch our main bank account to Monzo. I think they offer a better package. We pay slightly more per month, but the coverage is the same, plus some additional things like the rail travel. We get a rail card. We can purchase the rail card for free. We can also get cinema passes per month, and some other bits and bobs. So, and I just like their app. We're at Halifax at the moment, and we've been with them for years, but I just think I've got a personal account through Monzo because I use their pots, I use their savings pots. I just think it makes sense. Let's just switch to the same app. It'd probably be a little bit better to manage. So we're going to go and do that this month. I'm going to do a no spend. So where possible, I'm not going to be spending. I suppose in a way with my new rules that I've set out, that's probably going to be some of that anyway. I'm going to plan out my weight loss plan to come off the Manjaro jab. So I'm going to really focus on kind of health and getting into good habits from January. There's no point doing it now. Let's face it, we're all eating up whatever we've got in the cupboards, plus chocolate and crisps and snacks and whatnot. But yeah, I'm going to do really focus on having health and balanced diet, high protein through January, and really kickstart that kind of aim to come off by July, I can't remember which month it was, but it was one of those. And then I need to post on Vinted, so I've got loads of trousers that my son has outgrown, some other outfits as well that no longer needed, so I'm going to get them on Vinted this month. So those are my 4 main goals for this month. I've set out obviously what our outgoings are. So we've got the general outgoings of mortgage, we've got bank loans, lots of loans because it is part of our debt. So I always do the mortgage and then the debt at the big top, because it's easier just to track off as we go. I am paying back my mom for my beautiful memorial ring. This is my has my dad's ashes in there, so I am still paying that back to my mom because she purchased them for us and then we paying her back. I think I've got this month, it's already gone out, but this month, and I say this month, January, I think I've got February, and then that's paid off. And then I have got a mum loan, and this is where I've had an additional loan, which is kind of contradicts the whole plan of trying to pay off the debt, but this is instead of paying for it's for my daughter's Invisalign, essentially. My daughter wouldn't have qualified for NHS treatment because you've got to have very high level of need for dentistry for orthodontic treatment, and she's not that bad, to be fair. Mine and my husband's kind of goal was that we want to give our kids the best start in life. We want to give them the best shot as they go into adulthood. So the package that we've got is a 5-year guarantee package. She's 13 now, so this will take her up until she's an adult. It was cheaper to pay up front as opposed to get their loan at a stupid APR of 9.9% as well. So I kindly asked my mom to loan us some money, and if I can pay her back sooner rather than later, then I will, because I don't like the idea of that, so to speak. I want to pay my mum back as soon as I can, and I will do, but we're paying her at a rate of £100 a month for that. Then we've got our kind of utilities, so our mobile phone and broadband. There is a little bit of debt on the phones because we've got the phone package alongside the actual the handset package, sorry, as well as the kind of general package of usage in that. So that should get paid off by August this year if we don't pay it off sooner, but that's interest free at the moment. It's all in, that's interest free anyway, so it is what it is. But all in all, we pay £139.61 for 3 phone packages, 2 handsets and the broadband. So yeah, the gas and electricity is set. We've got water. I put that into savings. So we're on rates for water. So that's why it costs so much per month, £107.36. But we only pay that for 8 months of the year. So we have a break of 4 months now from, so it's December, January, February and March. And then obviously we get the council tax break as well in February and March. Those payments are going to go towards our 2025 holiday payment that we need to pay. And you'll see that when we go through our savings binders. So that's those. TV licence, my husband's, that's at £15. The Specsavers is my husband's contact lenses. The bank account fee of £19. Life insurance, that's life and critical illness for me and my husband, and that basically covers all of our expenses in terms of a mortgage. It would pay off our mortgage and give us a little bit to live off, essentially, should anything happen to either one of us. So that's £76.11. Car tax at £18.37. The dentist plan, so this is for 2 checkups and 2 hygienist appointments for all 4 of us a year at £58. NHS prescription, so me and my husband are on our prepayment cards because we both have a regular monthly prescription, and it just, anything then that we need in addition to that is covered by that prescription card. So that works out really well at £22.90 for both of us. My son's swimming at £67. Football club for his team, that's £25. My daughter's kickboxing at £22.25. My son's drumming lessons at school at £44.68 a month. My daughter's guides at £11. Then we pay for National Trust at £14.05 a month. We're going to make sure that we start using that more often. We pay for Apple One. So Apple One, yes, it is £36.95, but that is for Apple Fitness, which we use. So we don't pay a gym membership. We work out at home. And our Apple Music, it's a family coverage as well. So it has up to 5 devices. So that covers me, my husband, my daughter, and we also allow one for my father-in-law, and also a friend as well. So we get Apple TV as well in all of that. So that's I think it's really good value. Oh, terabyte, we get 2 terabytes of storage as well. So we just have standard phones and we just pay for the extra storage that way. Netflix, we do have the full package, but this is borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, I suppose, in a way, because while we pay for the Netflix, we get Amazon Prime covered by someone else's, and we also get Now TV from someone else's. And so, yeah, although we pay for the full package, they get our Netflix and we get their usage. So that's £30.97. My kids' pocket money. Monjaro, I budgeted for £300. Now I'm looking at switching providers because there is a cheaper provider out there, but that would normally be about £300, but and see if I can make some savings this month. The kids' Amazon package for their Amazon Fire tablet things. My husband said it. I asked him, I said, is it still worth it? He says it is, so I'm going with it. And then printer ink. So we pay for HP ink package. I have upped it. So you'll notice from previous months, I put that combined £20. I have upped the printer ink usage because I printed for my daughter's present. She had an electronic journal planner, and I purchased the paper, and I've been printing those for her present for this year, so that she could put it in her little Filofax, and so that was extra printing. I'm also doing a level 7 apprenticeship, so it's studying, and I prefer to read articles printed, and although I can print it at work, it's just handy having the freedom to do that at home as well. So it just makes sense to up the printing, but I can always reduce it back down again if and when I don't need it any longer. We do play lottery weekly, so I budget £20. It's very rarely up to £20. That just covers for any 5-week months. And then the cash stuffing and savings, which we'll go through, is a total of £2,434. So that should all equate to, when all added up, the same amount of what we've got on income. So my wage this month, £3,660.10. My husband's wage, £2,141.70. We get the child benefit of £173.20. My son's DLA, we get £422.40. And you'll see that we put £200 of that into savings, and then we use the rest to cover a lot of his activities, because things like his one-to-one football is costly, but it benefits him because he does struggle with larger groups. So yeah, that's what we use for that. And then my mother and father-in-law do contribute to our Netflix, and we get £5 from that. So that will be a total of £6,402.40. In terms of what we've got going out, £930 for fun, fuel and food, and I'll go through that breakdown in a bit. We've got short-term savings, our medium term and our long term are all there, 104, 340 and 960, and then £100 for our kids' investment. So that's a total, that's the same as that one down there. So all of that should equate to the £6,402.40. And then, as you will see, I have used some spends already for this week, for the start, because this will be our week 1 for January, because of when we get paid. And you'll see here, we go Friday to Friday, because my husband always gets paid on the last Friday of every month, whereas I'm the 28th of every month, which can fall on different days. So we always go from Friday to Friday for budgeting, because his is always the constant, and mine will either be before or after. And that's how we do that. So let's get on with the actual cash stuffing, because I have reset up some of my folders for the the short, medium and long term, and I've added in some extra folders. I've also decided to cash stuff, physical cash, just on these two, and then use placeholders on the long term, so that I am having to withdraw less cash and just kind of condense it all down a little bit. So it all kind of will make sense, I think. So let's start with, for food I budget 600, because there's 4 weeks of food. You'll see, I'll just demonstrate again. 1, 2, 3, 4 before we get paid again on the food shop. So £150 a week is what we budget for food, £600 altogether. I put £20 a week for my husband's car for his diesel. So that's £80, and then for fun £250. And what that is for is my best friend turns 40. We're going out for a special meal for her 40th this month, and although she's got her part at the end of the month, that will be budgeted in next month's wage. So I budgeted £200 for the meal out, because it will be a very, very special meal. I'm hoping that we don't need the full £200, but it's better to over than under, and then I can put that money towards any sort of savings after that. And then a buffer of £50 for any so we kind of already spent some of that already. We went bowling with some friends between Christmas and New Year, so yeah, we've already kind of spent some of that as well. And then I've got £444 in cash and placeholders £1,890. So let's just count the cash to double check that we are on for that. So let's start with the 20s. So we've got 20, 40, 60, 80, 1, 20, 40, 60, 80 and 200 in 20s. And then we have 210, 220, 230, 240, 250, 260, 270, 280, 290, 300, 310, 320, 330, 340, 350, 360, 370, 380, 390, 4, and then 410. And then the 5s, 410, 415, 420, 425, 430, 435, 440, and then 1, 2, 3 and 4 in coins there. So 440 is there. And then in placeholders, so I had to do, because we're now changing from cash to placeholders, I had to print off some more placeholders. I had to get all that sorted. So but it was a labour of love, so I'm glad I've done that. So 1,890, so that's 300, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900 and 1,000. Then we've got 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 550, 600, 650, 700, 750, 770, 790, 810, 830, 850, 870, 880, 890, 1,890. God, I'm glad I managed to do that. Okay, so let's get stuffing for the month. Start with our short term. So in our short term, we start with my little man's football. This is for his one-to-one sessions. There are 4 one-to-one sessions at £25, so £100 needs to go in there. I'm going to use 80 and then 4 5s. So that's 20, 40, 60, 80, 5, 10, 15, 20. So £100 goes into that. Then we've got my daughter's guides, 4 sessions. I give her £1 tuck every week. And the cheeky little devil, she never spends the whole £1, but she keeps the change. I let her save that up. She's a very good saver like that, to be fair. So that's £1 there. And then placeholders, £600 for food. So 300, 500, 600 there. We keep this in a Monzo pot. And then when I spend, I will then pay off the credit card, because we have an Amex credit card that we build up on points. And then for fuel, we've got 80. Again, I do the same. Need the 20s for this, which will be the smaller ones. So what have we got here? 20, 40, 60 and 80 there. Ready to go. And then for fun, 250. So we'll do 100, 250 there. Just keep them in order so I know. I know I've mucked up the order. I can just see it now. I've mucked up the order. Never mind. And then when I have spent on credit card, I will move the money and pop it into there so I know what I need to pay off. Any sort of cash that needs to go back into the joint account goes into that folder, and I do that every week. And then I do have a little bit of spare money that's been building up from January. I've also got some extra pennies here actually that I'm going to put into there, I think, as well. In fact, what I might do is save the envelope, and then so this will all go towards like my pound challenge. So I'm going to take the coins out and pop into my little pot, which I keep in storage on the side there. And then I'll keep the notes in there just to save my envelopes so I don't rip them. Okay, so that's that one. Right, medium term one. So these are kind of like monthly spends, or clothes or skincare, that kind of thing. The as and when ones, the little sinking fund. So haircuts, I put £80 into here. I'm going to need to make sure I've got some 10s because my husband and my son haircut is £15 a time. So that's 30 that they will need. So I've got 10 in there, so 80 to go. 20, 40, 60 and 80 can go there. So what we do with this, they have their monthly barbers at £30 each, and then I put 80 in because then that builds up for me and my daughter's haircuts, which are normally around every 3 months, 10 to 12 weeks I go. So I let that build up, so I've got the money there ready to pay for haircuts. Nails, I am due to go the 3rd of January. I'm putting £30 into there. I'm going to go quite simple for January, I think. So it might be a little less, and again that will then go towards the pound saving challenge for that. Any change from there. And then house maintenance, £50. So house maintenance, I'm going to try and leave to build up. I'll put the 10s in, I think. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. We are in desperate need of some new pots and pans in the kitchen. So I'd like to get some decent ones. So I'm going to let that build up a couple of months, I think, and then make an investment to get decent ones that will last us. So will you do that? Beauty, so this is skincare, makeup, that kind of thing. I'm putting in £30. Now I have already spent, because I have had to stock up on some skincare. So this is likely to go into spent on credit when I balance the books. But I won't do that in this video. I'll probably do that in a couple of days' time. But there's £30 ready to go in there. And then clothes, I'm putting £50 in. And then in here, I've got a Matalan gift card. Now, the story behind this is my daughter desperately needed some new, it's £20, just so you know. My daughter desperately needed a new pair of school shoes. I ordered them from Matalan because I could not get them in her size, the style that she liked, anywhere else. And I ordered the wrong size, didn't I? So in order to get that rectified, I had to get another voucher. So this is where you get like, I think Jam Donut do it. I get them through work where I get it's like 4% off or something like that. Another voucher, and then return the shoes. And I did it that way because essentially I knew that I know my son needs some new shoes soon, and if he needs any sort of new trousers because he just will not stop growing, I've got that there building up. So I'll just leave that, and then I'll add £50 into for clothes. So 20, 30, 40, 50. And if I find that I'm not because obviously I've got my new rule around not buying new clothes. If I find that I'm just letting that build up and not using it, I might reduce that every month, and go, and try and allocate that money elsewhere. For birthdays, I'm putting in £50. So this month we've got my nephew's birthday and my sister's birthday. So we'll have £50 in there. Just double check that I got that right. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Lovely. And then again, let that build up. Oh, I've still got £5 in there. That's good. Never rarely have anything left when it comes month by month. But yeah, we'll let that build up. Family fun. So anything that pops up that we fancy doing, I'm putting £20 in there. It might be a cheeky takeaway. So we'll just let that again build up if we need to. It might let that build up, and we've got February half term coming up. We might want to do something there. So we'll put that there. And then miscellaneous 30. And again, if I don't need, there we go, 30. If I don't need the miscellaneous, I'm going to take it out at the end of the month and put it towards paying off the debt. But it is just to have that little fail safe. If I've overspent in a category, I can go from there and replenish it, because I want to get away from the IOUs that I got into the habit of using last year. So, well, we're not quite in the next year, are we? We're still between Christmas and New Year, but you know what I mean. Right, long term. So this is a little bigger now. It's a little thicker, and I've got some more envelopes in there. This is probably going to be my favourite envelope, favourite folder now. I've printed off a little 52-week savings challenge. So for everyone, I'm going to basically colour in the square for everyone that I do, so I know that I'm on track for each week. I won't do this week's yet because we're not quite the 1st of January, so I'll probably do that in the next video, but I will be siphoning £52 to put into my savings challenge for that, and that can build up in there. Then for car maintenance, £50 goes into there. I am going to, I think, change, so it's all placeholders. I'm going to get these into the bank. So what have I got here? I've got 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, and then 50. So I need to get an extra placeholder, which I do have at hand here. I've got an extra 100. I've got some 50s, that'll do. I might be able to change it up even more and condense it down. So I've changed that. I'm going to make a note of that in my little notepad here. So car maintenance. So I'll know that I need to put £100 cash into that sinking fund when I go to the bank. So that's that one. I'll pop that over there. And then £50 to go in there. And then can I condense that down any more? Let's have a look. What have I got here? 20, 40. I've got 50 already there. 100, 200. I might see if I've got a £200. I don't think I do. They must all be in use. Right, we'll keep that as it is then for now. Phone repair. I am going back into this. Trying to save up money. Basically, I've got a nice smash crack on my phone when my son accidentally knocked it out of my hand, dropped to the floor. I want to save to get it properly repaired at the Apple shop as opposed to generic screen, because it devalues the phone. So I'm going to save for that and start. I'd abandoned it after my daughter had her phone replaced using whatever money I could manage to find from our sinking funds. So I'm just going to put these back in order so that I'm not getting myself all mixed up. So 20 there. I'm going to let that build up, and probably, I think it's around 280 for the phone screen replacement. I'm going to let that build up. Hopefully this year I'll get it done. Travel money I'm going to start putting into here. So I'm a little bit of nice news. So with my husband's little siphoning of money away, I can confidently say that we can put money. I'm going to take my daughter to Paris for a weekend, well, for 3 nights in the Easter holidays, and I'm taking my mom as well. So we're going to start putting travel money into here for spending money for that. So just £10 to begin with. We'll go in there. My daughter puts up with a lot with her brother, who is hard work. Her hello fellow send parents, and she deserves a little bit of mummy daughter time. So, and I want to go to Paris. My husband is not that bothered, and she does French at school. She's super excited to go. I've told her she's got to practice her French because I don't know other than your basics of bonjour and comment allez-vous and anything like that. I can't remember a lot because I didn't do it at GCSE at school, and that's what, 25 years ago, something like that. So yeah, it's all on her. So she's got to practice her French. Right, holiday for 2026 gets the usual £180. I am going to change up the notage here and get that into the bank account. Oh, quite a lot of notes there actually. That's nice. I'll get that into the bank account. Start saving some interest. That's 20, 40, 60, 80, 1, 20, 40, 60, 80. So I'll put that to one side. I'll find 180 to pop and replace that. So 100, 150, 60, 70. We've got a 10. Ooh, I'll put 2 5s for now. 80. And then I could probably change some of these up. Yeah. Get these into order so I can count them properly. I also need to put in my 180 placeholders. Here's my little tracker that I wrote out to make sure I'm on track, and I can tick January's off as well. So 100 and 50, 60, 70 and 80. See if I can condense this down. So I have got 500, 600, 650, 700, 750, 800, and then 20, 20, oh no, 800, 900 and 20, 900, no, 1,000 there. I'm gonna have to recount this up because I'm getting myself in a right muddle here. I've got 1,010, I think. I should have 1,116.59 in the bank, but that's 500, 600, 650, 700, 750, 770, 790, 800, 900, and 20, 40, 90, and 1,000. I've got 1,010. So I think I'm going to put in I'll double check that amount in the bank account, but I'll put in the extra 5 there. So that adds up. And can I actually change that up? Because I can put my first £1,000 placeholder in. Yay! Oh, I've been dying to use one of those. So Yeah, 1,160. So let's do that. 1,100, and it'll be 15 because that's the nearest denomination. There. And put all those away. Yay! Love it. Oh, where are you? There you are. Get my pen to tick that off. I also need to make sure that I'm writing down, put them placeholders to one side, pop this back into my envelope, and then I need to put 180 into the bank from that cash that I took out. Holiday. Oh, what have I knocked on the floor there? I'll find it in a minute. Holiday 2026, £180 to go into the bank account. I'm going to nip across to the post office in a bit so that I can get all the cash into the bank that I need to. 40th birthday trip. Again, some great news. We have booked. We are going to... Where are we going? Where are we going? Caribbean somewhere. Ah! And... Oh, I can't. It begins with an A. I can't believe I've just... mind blank. Oh, you'll have to find out in the next video when I've finally figured it out. But our target is £4,000. I've got £100 to put in. So 545 in there already. And then it'll be 600 there. Can't condense that down anymore, I don't think. So that's building up nicely. When we've paid off our 2026 holiday, that money then will go towards this one. So that's sorted. And then starting again, fresh, nothing in there at the moment, £100 towards Christmas 2026. That goes in there. Target 1,200, so £100 a month. Goes into there. And then little man's teas DLA money, £200. We are saving because he doesn't have a diagnosis yet. We're saving to be assessed privately. There is a 3-year waiting list for his autism assessment. It's ridiculous, really. We are fortunate enough that we can save, and we will go privately if it means that he gets what he needs and his needs recognised, his needs met. So that's what that is going towards. And I've got 500, 600, 710 pounds in there at the moment. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to get to where we need to be this year to pay for that, because he will need, what will we need? We'll need about 2,000, just over £2,000. And the only reason I'm saying over, because it's about 2,500, I believe, but we get a little bit of coverage through my husband's pay care through his work. So we get about £400 towards that assessment from there. So that will cover some of it. So yeah, about 2,000 we're aiming towards that. And then this is another new envelope that I'm stuffing for. This is for subscriptions. This is for our Disney subscription that we pay up front. This is for insurances. This is for our Ring doorbell. Anything that we pay up front for the year. House insurance, that sort of thing. We're going to be putting £100 a month in towards that, because I'm going to use my pound challenge for travel. Whereas I was putting it towards subscriptions and things like that. I've changed it up a bit. It's what it is. So yeah, subscriptions there. And then £100 into our emergency fund. I'm hoping this will flatten out eventually, but it got a little bit squashed. I don't know how, it just did. So what have I got here? 20, 40, 60, 80. Seems an odd amount in the emergency fund, but it's what it is. £100 goes in there. I am still £100 and I don't know why. Where have I not put £100? I will figure it out. I'll have to go through it all. So that is us all cash stuffed. for 2026 January. I hope you all have a fabulous Twixmas. I will probably be doing another video in a couple of days' time to basically score off our first week of January. I have done a bit of shopping already, so I have started using some of that food budget already, but it is the bulk buy that I do. I think what I'm going to try and start doing as well is maybe some shorts as well, and and showing you kind of the things that I bulk buy and where I get them from, and what that works out, you know, how much cheaper that works out at and things like that. So I'm hoping to share some of that with you, and if you've got anything that you can share with me, you are more than welcome to comment in the comments. I do welcome good feedback, anything that's encouraging, or you know, any hints or tips really, because we're a community, and let's share some of the good hints and the good tips and learn from each other. So yeah, have a fab week everybody. You take care. Bye bye.